Well, Monday Night Raw this week was an absolute banger, and we are here to talk about it and break it all down. So, with that, welcome to the 716 Sports Entertainment Podcast. I am your host, Mike, joined by the real deal, Mr. S. O'Neill. And Sean, how did you make of Monday Night Raw from July the 13th, which I thought was an absolute banger of a show, up and down?
So, I mean, the fact that you had Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar actually on the show, you knew that they were going to be bringing some heat. And with only 2 weeks now until the biggest show of the summer, I mean, they have a lot of ground to make up, and Raw really brought its A game last night.
Yeah, yeah, I completely agree. Let's get right into it. So the some of the major highlights from the show: Brock Lesnar comes down to the ring, escorted by Paul Heyman, does his usual Brock Lesnar Paul Heyman shtick, where Paul introduces him, and the crowd was getting massive, massive Oba Femi chants going. Well, he brought local police department with him to the ring, and apparently claiming that he got a restraining order against Oba Femi, which I thought was kind of weird and a little chintz a little bit because it kind of cheapens Brock a little bit. I get why they did it, but I kind of would have rather this was a pull apart brawl. I think that might have been better. But regardless, it was fun. Oba came down, threw the police officers around. It was, fun. It was a fun, fine segment. I'm still kind of surprised that we haven't had the career announcement yet for Brock, and I'm wondering if that's going to happen. So what's your take on this segment, and do you agree with me? Do you think we should be getting the career announcement, if at all?
So I love the fact that they had a backstage segment later on too, claiming that they were all fake police officers brought by Paul Heyman. So that way we didn't have to go with the, well, why isn't Oba getting arrested for assault on a law enforcement official? Um, because WWE thinks we're all stupid. I thought that was absolutely hysterical. But I mean, anytime you get Heyman and a segment, it's pretty much gold. And seeing Oba come out and just destroy multiple people is always well worth it. And I don't know if you caught it, but when Heyman said that he took out a restraining order, Brock sort of gave him a weird look. Um, so I don't know if Brock knew that was where he was going to go with that. But I agree, that did kind of cheapen it a little bit. I wouldn't have minded seeing the two of them sort of just throw down. But I liked it. I am kind of surprised as well that we haven't gotten anything about the career in there. I mean, I'm thinking that what what good reason does Brock have to put his career on the line, though?
At this moment, he doesn't.
So here's my thought for you. Oba puts up his future title shot.
That's interesting because they've made mention of the fact that he basically gave up his title shot. So if we have Adam Pearce say something like he doesn't actually lose his title shot, he gets it later whenever he wants.
Yeah, I think that that would be a good direction to take this, especially because you have a lot of a certain segment of the internet wrestling fandom kind of being wieners about the whole thing. And sorry, we know the internet's not a real place and these people don't actually exist,
The
but
internet is definitely a real place.
it just there's a bunch of them who it's always the minority that speaks the loudest, it seems like. And a lot of them are whining about how, oh, well, Oba is doing this and Oba's doing that, and you're making him look weak by giving up the title shot. And I don't think so, because Oba made a real good point about how Brock, if he would have just taken the title shot, Brock would have cost him the match.
Yeah, I love
And
that they did that and that they said that. I think that was that was important.
because we all knew that it would happen. Like
Yeah.
if it was just a straight up title match with and him and Brock weren't done, it, we would be stupid if we didn't think that. And I know WWE has a habit of thinking that we're stupid.
And we
And
would have
that's
been
actually
and we would have been annoyed, and like the fandom would have been annoyed with the whole situation because it kind of would have been a waste of a title match.
exactly. And it's one thing I'll actually say about this whole Monday Night Raw. It felt like there were a couple points where WWE was almost acknowledging that they sometimes treat the fans like they're idiots, and the fans aren't actually stupid. There were a couple comments during the main event segment too that I kind of got that feeling. So I think it was kind of interesting that they sort of took that route with it.
Yeah, yeah, I completely agree with you, and I just think they did a good job, and everything felt cohesive for once, which I think I like. So they're not often we don't get that on the blue brand, so we only get it like 50% of the time. So
Yeah.
it's not too bad. The first match of the show saw IYO SKY versus Roxanne Perez, and Sky picked up the win via a roll-up after interference from Liv and Raquel kind of backfired. Post-match, we saw Sol Ruca come down to kind of help make the save, although she ended up kind of getting beaten down too. So I would imagine probably leading up to this, because this was a fine match. I mean, IYO SKY is awesome. She's such a good wrestler, and Roxanne is fun to watch too. I don't really have any major takeaways from the match. I enjoy watching IYO wrestle. IYO wrestle. She's a lot of fun. But I have a feeling leading up to this, we're probably going to see some kind of 2v2 or even 3v3 if Stephanie Vaquer makes her return. Judgment Day women versus face women of some kind.
So I missed the end portion of this whole match, but I have a question for you. If Stephanie Vaquer is coming back, does that mean IYO's going to lose the event?
Why would
Or
you say
does
that?
or does Stephanie cost Liv? Which do you think makes more
Walk me
sense?
through this. Walk me through this.
So if Stephanie Vaquer has to come back, does IYO just lose clean so that way Stephanie Vaquer can just have her rematch against Liv? Or does Stephanie come out during the match when Liv tries to pull something skeevy and cost her the match?
So, I mean, I'm definitely of the mind right now that IYO is going to win.
Okay.
Um, but to your point, I don't really, I don't know. I don't really know how it's going to go. But I'm very confident that that IYO is going to win the match. I don't know if I don't know like why we're waiting on Stephanie, if we're just waiting for her to come, like what we're waiting on for her to come back for. Are we just going to wait until after SummerSlam, or like why we're waiting this long? I've heard numerous reports that she's completely clear, and I just don't know like what we're waiting for, I guess.
That's why I'm curious that we haven't seen like any sort of indication of her. You know what I mean? Like there's been almost nothing, no comment, nothing talked about with her. So it's has me very, very curious what direction they're going to take with her when she comes back. Or does she come back and be like IYO's first challenger?
I would be okay with that. Like, I'd be okay with them doing a face versus face thing. And honestly, I think I'd want IYO to retain. I don't think I want Stephanie to just come back and be the champion, like right away again. I would actually might be okay with Stephanie winning the Royal Rumble and her doing a thing with like Rhea or something like that later on or whatever. I don't know. We're going to have to see what we end up getting on SmackDown this week when, with that title. But assuming they take it off of Rhea, or she just shows up and vacates it or something. I don't know, but I don't want to get into SmackDown right now. But
No.
yeah, right now I think Rhea or not Rhea. I think Stephanie or I don't know, maybe a couple of the ladies from SmackDown are probably my picks right now to win the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
So next we saw Jimmy Uso versus Royce Keys again. This time we saw Royce Keys pick up the win by a DQ after Jacob Fatu attacked him. And this match was fine. It was very similar to the match they had on SmackDown. However, the post-match angle was absolutely fantastic, which saw Solo come out to obviously get involved again. He kind of did the swerve where he made the attempt like, oh, I'm going to come back to the family, only to be like, psych. And then he hit Jimmy with the Samoan spike. Kind of got beat down a little bit by Jacob, but then ultimately was chased off by one Southern California Knight. And this set up an amazing 3v3 match for SummerSlam between Solo Sikoa, Royce Keys, Southern California Knight, the Usos, and Jacob Fatu. And I absolutely love this. I love that they set this up. And the it's very interesting to kind of be like to look at the face heel dynamic here because both teams can kind of lay claim to being faces and both teams can kind of lay claim to being heels here. And I love everything about it.
So, a couple things in regards to this match and segment. At what point did Big Jim become the better wrestler than Jay?
Oh, I think that's been a while.
Because he has been so much better overall in the ring than Jay. And not just given the fact that Jay's out of breath after he says says the word yeet, but how about the fact that Southern California called him the unfortunate circumstance Jay Uso? Oh, or no, sorry, the unfortunate event. But I think that this whole swerve was great. Solo in the ring with the one up, only to turn it into the Samoan spike was fantastic. And I absolutely love the little things that both like Jacob and Solo do. Like Jacob when he was beating the shit out of beating the hell out of Royce Keys was losing his mind about how he told him not to do this. He didn't want to be doing this. Like he was kind of put into a spot that he didn't want to be in.
Right.
And then Solo in his incredibly awesome suits that he wears, whenever something goofy happens, he lets out that like stupid laugh. Like when Jimmy went to grab him from behind and pulled his coat off, and he was like, "Ha ha!" and turned around and hit him.
Love Solo. I love Solo.
That Solo works as like a weirdly comedic character sometimes, and I absolutely love it. And I think this is going to be one of the matches of SummerSlam.
Oh, no doubt. Absolutely. I'm looking forward to a lot of the matches at SummerSlam, but I'm looking forward to this one the most. And I could see it going either way, but I think LA Knight's team needs to win.
I agree.
So
I think
I'm looking forward to it regardless. Because I think Jimmy or Jey Uso needs to probably take the pin here.
Yeah, I think Jay, you're right. Jay should take the pin, and because I think it furthers not like a dissension storyline, but a you can't get the job done kind of storyline with Jay.
They won't be on the same. Something will happen because they're going to need to protect Jacob. So something will happen where Jacob and the Usos are not on the same page, and that's how LA Knight's team will pick up the win.
Yeah, because I think that at some point they're also building to some stipulation match between Jacob and Keys.
I also think at some point in time we're going to get a match between Roman and Jacob versus the Usos.
Really?
Yep. I really do. I really think eventually the Usos are going to get so sick of Jacob and Roman's going to be like, get your shit together, and they're not going to, and we're going to see some kind of match there. It might not be for a while, but I bet it'll happen eventually.
Even though Jimmy is still all
Jimmy is, but Jay is not.
Yeah, Jay's been all pissy.
Like they're making it a point that Jay is not.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I'm going to be interested to see it. We did have a confrontation between Bayley and Lyra. Lyra coming out looking real like, I don't even know, like disheveled. She looked like she just woke up on the wrong side of the bed, had all of her goth makeup on, and just looked real disheveled, if I will. I mean, I know that's what they were going for, so I don't mean to like mock her appearance, but like it was definitely an interesting look from the the winged Valkyria that we normally see out of Lyra. Very, very radically different character look. They obviously came to words and they came to brawl, setting up their match for Saturday night's main event this weekend, which should be good. I mean, they're both excellent wrestlers. Lyra needs to win, absolutely needs to win, but we'll certainly see how it goes. I don't think that this will be the first and last match for this. I think we're going to probably get a couple of matches here.
Unless they have Lyra lose through something stupid and it continues her downward spiral. I mean, she already came out looking like she's been living in a van down by the river. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think with Bayley likely leaving, though, I think that,
Lyra needs to win the feud.
Yeah.
Regardless of how many matches it is. I think that that's what it's going to hinge on is how many matches said feud ends up being. You know what I mean?
Lyra is the future. Bayley is not anymore, and it makes me sad because I love Bayley, but I think the writing's on the wall for Bayley to go to WCW eventually.
I
So
mean, they made some real good points during the segment, and I think that honestly, if I'm gonna do some hotshot booking here, I have Bayley win this one because something like dumb happens with Lyra, and it sets up some sort of stipulation match for SummerSlam between the two of them. Because when you and I were talking about it, we still had room for like one or two matches. Sets up some sort of stipulation match between the two of them, and Lyra wins that.
yeah. Did you want to next talk about the Maxine Dupree drama with the Vision?
You go ahead, and I just want to.
I
I
thought
just want
this
to
was
comment
aces.
on
I
it.
thought this segment was absolutely fantastic. So we had the Vision come down to initially celebrate their new title win, coming down with Maxine, and then they were kind of immediately interrupted by the Alpha folks from Tozawa and Otis. This is the first time we've seen Otis like in a while, like do anything in the ring because normally he's just kind of relegated to 30-second backstage segments. And I like the character work. I mean, it kind of drew on his character work back when he was with Gable and the will he won't he kind of thing here a little bit. Um, but Maxine, he was attempting to like be like Maxine, you're better than this, and Tozawa was trying to say the same thing. You're better than this. What are you doing? And Maxine looked initially like kind of conflicted. And then Otis was attempting to like kind of confess his feelings for Maxine. Austin Theory and the Vision guys were kind of like, bro, you're a joke, blah, 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 blah. He kind of threw them around a little bit. And, Otis kind of threw them around a little bit. Maxine eventually kind of got in his way, ultimately to be like, hey, I didn't know you felt this way, blah, blah, blah. But ultimately, it was to no avail. She was just really distracting him for Austin Theory to kind of give him the nut shot and then for ultimately the Vision to stand tall after kind of beating the piss out of both of these guys. A couple of points I want to make here, and then I'll let you go. One, I know Braun Breaker destroyed them at the end, but it was kind of ridiculous watching Otis and Tozawa destroy Braun Breaker in the beginning of this. I was very much annoyed about that whole thing, and the fact that it took like Logan Paul kind of like tossing in a brass knucks to sort of help them take down Otis of all people. Like Braun Breaker and the Vision need brass knuckles to take down Otis. I was kind of a little bit annoyed by that. And then also B, is this what we're going to do now? This is going to be the storyline. We're going to have the Alpha Academy versus the Vision for the tag team titles at SummerSlam. Is that what we're going to do? So I'm sorry for ranting, but go ahead.
That's the point I was going to make is where are we going to go with this? I mean, we did have that backstage segment as well where they ran into Paul Heyman, which ended on a little bit of a weird note. So I think Heyman is going to be done with the Vision. But
which I want to talk about after this. But
yes, we'll get to that in a sec. But you're right. Like, if anything, Braun should have thrown, or not Braun, Otis should have thrown Austin Theory around and then struggled a little bit with Braun. But can I say, that massive spear that he hit on him at the end, I thought he was going to cut him down.
Theory down, too.
Yeah, that was massive. And it just shows you what Braun Breaker can do. I mean, if you need to feed them Otis and Tozawa to get him back on the path of going where he needs to, I mean, whatever, but don't make it needs to be a squash. Like, there should be zero competition in that actual match. Because even Theory should be able to run circles around the two of them.
You'd think. I don't love anything about it, though. I mean, if it's just going to be like a kind of a squad, like this is actually something I might have relegated to the Saturday night's main event, to be completely honest with you. But I don't know. Like, I mean, the crowd would love to see Otis get his comeuppance. I just don't think it's going to happen. I mean, maybe he'll do a singles match with Austin Theory down the road, and he can win that. Like, I can be comfortable with Otis winning a match against Austin Theory. I cannot be comfortable with Otis and Tozawa winning a match that involves Braun Breaker, or frankly, Logan Paul, for that matter.
What I don't want to see is them having their match and it looking like Otis and Tozawa are about to win, only for Bronson Reed to have to come out and save the day. I
Yeah,
feel like
that would piss me off.
not only would it piss me off, it cheapens what the Vision are. And I get that WWE is in kind of a rough spot with the Vision with having to constantly rebuild them, but have them just run through Otis and Tozawa and then just make that their starting point again to running roughshod. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, what do you make of Paul Heyman now? And I know he's pretty much full time with Brock Lesnar again, but Brock Lesnar is to be done, and he seems like he's done with the Vision. Is Paul Heyman kind of setting himself up to just be done as an on screen character?
Or at least take time off. I have a feeling he's going to get taken out during the Hell in a Cell match between Oba and Brock, and he will be off TV for a little while. So I don't know if he maybe has planned time off coming up or something along those lines. But it definitely feels like they're prepping to write him off TV for a little while.
So
I don't see.
you don't think he's like no, but do you think he's done with the all of these characters and he's going to go on to somebody new, or like what do you make of that?
I don't know. I mean, I know he still has a pretty big backstage role, and it would be a tremendous loss for WWE if he went away from that. So I feel like it's up to him. I mean, if he wants to continue to manage somebody, his name alone is a pretty big rub on whoever he wants to manage. And you know what? Honestly, have something happen with the Vision and Breaker break off from the Vision and just manage Breaker.
Yeah, that would probably be ideal. It's just weird that the way that they're doing this, you know? Like I don't love I don't know. If he's going to take time off, fine. But like the fact that he's just like throwing shade at them and we haven't
Yeah, it
really
felt
gotten
super awkward.
yeah, like we haven't gotten a reason yet why he's throwing shade at them. And it just seems weird. Like I can't kind of figure out why, you know.
Yeah. It just
Um
it makes it feel incredibly like awkward.
yeah. We got a couple of announcements. War Games will be coming to Houston for Survivor Series. Jalen Brunson will accompany Roman Reigns at the Saturday night's main event, and we got a cameo for Big Cass, Big Bill. I don't know who he's going to be or what he's
Big
going to be,
Cass.
but he's going to be showing up on the Raw after SummerSlam. It looks like, or at least that's what the date was.
I liked that promo. I liked what it said about the world having such high expectations and you can't miss, only for you to then miss. So
Yeah,
I think that's because people thought he was like a guaranteed big thing. And mind you, I enjoyed the hell was their group called? And Big Enzo and Cass.
Zone Cass. Yeah, yeah,
And with Carmella in that, I enjoyed them as a group. I mean, yeah, Enzo had a habit of getting annoying as shit, but they were a fun group. They had a catchy thing going,
mhm,
and I'm
yeah.
very curious to see if it's going to be just him coming back, or if the rumors are true that that one Enzo Amore is going to be returning as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll have to wait and see for right now. I mean, they showed him in
Yeah,
the package, so I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see. I mean, I've heard that dude has turned his life around a little bit. So I mean, I know for a while there he was a complete like goblin, and he was like showing up at WWE shows even though he wasn't employed by them anymore, acting like a buffoon. But I've heard he's turned his life around. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, I guess.
I can tell you one thing it's not going to be. It's not going to be SAWFT soft.
Oh, Lord. So we had one more match to talk about before we get to the main event segment, and that was, of course, the IC title number one contender gauntlet match for Penta's IC title at SummerSlam, which this match was a banger. Was an
Yep.
absolute banger of a match. We saw Joe Hendry and Dominic Mysterio out first. Dominic Mysterio eliminated Joe Hendry. Dominic Mysterio was then eliminated by by Javon Evans with a Danhausen distraction. Then we saw Dragon Lee eliminated by Javon Evans. Then we saw Rusev come out. Rusev beats Javon Evans with the accolade. Rusev then gets eliminated by Chad Gable. And then lastly, we see Chad Gable eliminating Ethan Page with the ankle lock to become the #1 contender for the IC title. And I want to just say it's about time. Yep. And I had no doubt that this was going to happen. This was absolutely the right result. I wouldn't have wanted Chad Gable to just go through everybody. I think he came out at the right spot to beat the two heels. And I think that this was awesome. The match really picked up after, I mean, the Dragon Lee had some cool spots with Javon Evans, but the match really picked up once Rusev came out. And I thought this was just absolutely spectacular.
I think Javon Evans also looked really good in this match.
Mm-hmm.
He definitely carried that middle part of it. And I like the fact that Rusev surprise attacked him too. Yeah. Like that he didn't come out from the entranceway. I really liked that, especially given the fact that, I mean, it was an even amount of heels and faces in this. And I think I did call it a couple weeks ago that Chad Gable was going to, before there was even talk of this, that he was going to be your contender. But my God, pretty much everybody looked good during this. And I liked the show of respect between Javon Evans and Dragon Lee.
Everybody looked good except for one person, which I want to get to. But
Joe Hendry.
Joe Hendry.
And I don't think that was necessarily a fault of his own. I'm not a fan of the fact that he was the first person in there. I think that he should have been in like the middle. I would have been perfectly fine with Dragon Lee versus Dominic at the beginning. And I think that they sort of misused Hendry there. And I think putting him even in this gauntlet match was a little bit of a misuse of him as well. Yeah. What I know you, it's on. We'll let you say.
That was going to be my point. Is I think that they're mismanaging Joe Hendry a little bit right now. I just don't think that they know what to do with him. And I also kind of think, I got to be honest with you, I don't know if he spent enough time in NXT.
I can agree with that.
I don't think they really had a plan for him when he kind of came up to the main roster. And I remember Terrence said this a while ago that he just he was just kind of he was an entrance, right? And like once you got past that, like what are you going to do with this guy? You know, so I don't know.
You're right. I mean, the guy's a great wrestler still, but you're right. It's like WWE does not have a plan for him, and usually that does not bode well for someone's future when they bring somebody up and there isn't a clear path for them. Cough, cough, Aleister Black. But I think, or even Andrade. But the rest of this match I really enjoyed, and my God, that just the whole last two parts with Gable versus Rusev and Gable versus Ethan Page were just incredible. I mean, Gable powering out of the accolade, the putting Ethan Page into the ankle lock from the top rope. Then when Page tried to roll out of it, rolling with the roll to keep him in the ankle lock. We all know that Gable is a great athlete, but I think it even goes beyond that. I think Chad Gable is just one of the best athletes WWE has.
Oh, 100%.
I 100% need to see him win the title at SummerSlam.
He's going to. He's absolutely going to. Spoiler alert, when we do our predictions, I'm going to pick him to win.
If they don't, like if WWE pulls something stupid, it is a huge mistake.
Yeah. It's now or never, too, right? Like if you're going to do it, now is the time to do it.
You have to capitalize. Right now, Chad Gable is... You strapped a rocket to Gable.
Yeah, strike while the iron is hot right now. Which leads us to the main event segment with Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins doing their contract signing. They got the contract signing part of this over with pretty quick. And, they kind of sort of just traded personal insults initially. Rollins doing his usual, I'm a visionary revolutionary, Reigns calling Rollins a bitch. Rollins is basically like, look, whenever you're ready to show up for work, I'll be here, which I thought was a cool line. And then Rollins kind of made his way back down the entrance. And then eventually Roman's like, where are you going? Like, are we going to do this or what? Right. He kind of set the line to sort of get under Rollins's skin a little bit, basically being like, what are you going to do if you win? Right. Are you going to get hurt again? And this really kind of seemed to bother Rollins a little bit. And, Rollins like really got in his face after Roman kind of gave it to him a little bit. And, eventually cheap shot at him. And then they kind of went back and forth a little bit, but it ultimately led to Rollins hitting him with the stomp to close it out. So, I mean, typically when they do that, it means the other guy's going to win, but we still have a couple more weeks left of this. So I still think that Roman's probably going to win, but I thought this was fine. I thought this was good. I mean, these guys have so much shared history with which they can draw on, so it's very easy, for the two of these guys to just have a segment together.
Yeah. I really like that they brought up how awkward the opening segment last week was.
Yes.
The fact that they acknowledged that was kind of surprising to me. But you're right. Just the shared history alone here allows them to have such personal shots at each other. You know what I mean? It's not very often you see people being allowed to take shots like, oh, I'll be here when you decide to show up for work, or about Triple H. Like, it's very rare that you get to see comments like that. And I think it shows how much WWE trusts these two guys to go out there and just ad-lib promos. You know what I mean? And I was kind of shocked that after Roman popped up and Superman punched him, he still ended up being the one to be left laying at the end. And the fact that Netflix caught Rollins saying the word shit.
Yeah, it was weird. Like right when this thing kind of ended, my Netflix went black, and it was like I didn't see like the last 30 seconds of it or whatever. So it was odd, but it was a good segment. It was it was a great build to what is likely going to be the night 2 main event, and I'm okay with it. I'm looking forward to this match. Like I said, I think Roman is going to win, but I still think it's going to be fun, and they'll tell a good story.
I'm not 100% sold yet. I'll wait another week and see who stands tall again. I think the fact that we still have a couple weeks is some time for me to dwell on it. But I really enjoyed this show. I think that it continued the streak of Raw for the most part being a great show. I remember there was a couple years ago where I kind of dreaded watching Raw because it was not a fun watch. And I think everything that they do with Netflix now is very good, other than the commercials. And I enjoyed it. I think if I had to rate it,
I was just going to ask you, what's your final rating for the show?
I think I give it an A minus. I enjoyed the wrestling, and I enjoyed the opening and the closing promos, and it was fun.
Yeah, I echo everything that you said. I love the Oba Femi stuff. He still continues to be one of my favorite wrestlers going right now. I think the stuff with Southern California Night and those groups right there is fantastic. I really hope they just pull the trigger on Lyra and have her, continue to win and move up the card. I'm looking forward to the main event, and very curious to see what they do with the Vision. And I hope that it goes kind of in the right direction. So with that, my final rating for the show is bada book, bada boom, realest guy in the room out of 5. So that is our show, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, I have been Mike, joined by Mr. Real Deal. Please smash that subscribe button as we make our way to 10K. We do appreciate all of the support. And with that, have yourselves a fantastic evening and take care.